All right, hey everyone. I really wanted to tell you about one of my favorite games. I only found out about this one recently, but it is called Horrified, and it is a cooperative game in which you try and kill the Universal monsters. So it is ready-made for me. I'm wearing one of my Universal Monster shirts. So yeah, why don't I just kind of start by showing you how you set up the board. We'll go over some of the rules, and then we'll get you playing. One thing I really love is they have this, we feel it would be a little unkind to present this game without just a word of friendly warning. This paragraph is, it's changed to the word game, but other than that, this is the opening of Frankenstein 1931 that Edward Van Sloan says. So I just thought that was really cute. It's very much made for like fans of those movies. So here's the game board itself. There's a bunch of different places where you're going to be placing items, and then your characters get to move from like any of these spaces. The creature from the Black Lagoon is the only one who uses the water spaces. So I've already we've played several times, but when you first get the game, you have to take everything out, and it's in these sheets where you break it out. Anyway, eventually you're going to have your little baggie that has your tokens in it. You're going to have your character cards. You're going to have a bunch of little pieces that are for each of the monsters, for your character pieces and whatnot. You're going to have several cards for each of the monsters. You're going to have this fear token, which we'll put over there. You're going to have a bunch of these little villagers. You're going to have a flame, 3 dice, and then you're going to have a few sets of different cards. So I'm just going to quick separate them. So, as you play the game, what we have here is kind of like a little cheat sheet. So, there's 2 different phases of the game. There's the hero phase and then the monster phase. So, the hero phase is when you're going to do stuff. And then the monster phase is when the monsters are going to attack you. So, the things that you get to do is you can move from space to space. You can guide one of the villagers towards you. You can pick up items, share items with a teammate. Each of the monsters has their own mini game that you need to work on. So you can advance one of those tasks, you can defeat a monster, or you can use your special action. In the monster phase, what's going to happen is these are the monster phase cards. So each monster phase, you're just going to draw a card, and then there's a few things that it's going to tell you what's going to happen. This means you're going to add this many number of tokens to the board. You're going to do whatever it says here. So this one happens to say that we're going to put one of the villagers on the board. So I would go among the villagers. Let's see, where's Fritz? So this is Fritz, and we're going to place him at the tower. And then our goal is Fritz needs to go to the Institute, which is what his little player token here says, Institute. So what we're going to try and do is move him down the board over here to the Institute. And then once he's at his spot, then we get a different type of card. So at the start of the game, each player starts with one of these. This is I think they're called hero cards or something. But basically, you get special stuff from them. So, and each time you save a villager, you get one of these cards. So this particular one lets you do 2 extra actions on the end of your turn. Cool. All right. So let's do the basic board setup, and the stuff that I was saying will make more sense once we actually like do some stuff. So this game can be played with multiple players or single players. The more people you have, the slower it's going to go. If you're doing multiple players, then the fear meter starts here at 0. So the fear meter goes up whenever you die or one of the villagers dies. And what you don't want to happen is you don't want it to get to the skull, because then that means that everybody loses. Everybody loses or everybody wins. The other way that you lose is if you run out of monster phases. So you go through all of these cards and you haven't killed all the monsters yet. But back over to this guy. If you're doing solo play though, you're gonna start at 3, because it's a lot easier when there's only one person playing to not die. If there's a lot of people playing, you die pretty easy. All right. So there's a bunch of different characters that you can choose to be. You can either like, actually choose from these, or, I sometimes, if I'm doing a single player, I'll just like choose one, or even with teams, just choose one at random and then be like that person. And they correspond to little movers. So I'm gonna pull these guys out. So first off is your explorer. She is awesome. If you are doing single player, I would recommend using her for your character, at least until you really get familiar with the game. If you're playing multiple player, someone in your party should be this person. The reason is she gets to move basically anywhere. So she can move over here. Over here. That was one turn. She used 2 actions just now. And so that's really helpful when you're trying to like work on the game. In fact, I'm gonna choose her for our demonstration. Some of the other characters are the mayor. She's got her little wheelchair there. She just gets a lot of actions. Oh yeah, the way that you tell is each character gets a certain number of actions, and then they each have a special ability. So the explorer's special ability is that jumping that I was just showing you. The mayor gets to move 5 times. She doesn't have a special ability down here though. The scientist gets 4 actions and gets to add 1 to the strength of any item that they're using. So that's a little bit weird, but you'll kind of see that will come in handy in the mini games to kill the monsters. The courier gets to move into spaces with any hero, so even the game doesn't recommend using this character unless it's in a group, because his special ability is essentially useless without other characters around. The archaeologist, here, I'm going to set this up because you can kind of see how his special ability works. So at the start of the game, you're going to put down 12 tiles onto the board. These are like little things that'll help you throughout the game, and you're essentially trying to collect them in order to defeat the monsters, to protect yourself. They're really helpful. So the color is important, and then the number up here is important later, and then this down here tells me where I'm going to put it on the board. So this one says Abbey, so I know I'm going to put it over here on the board at the Abbey. And then at some point during the game I might pick that token up, and then now it'll be in my hand. But right now they just go on the board. So I'm going to put down 12 of these. Okay. So the reason I kind of did that now is the archaeologist, he gets to move 4 spaces, but his special action is that he can pick up pieces from an adjacent space. So at the same time. So for example, let's say the archaeologist is right here on the board. So now he doesn't have any pieces on his square. Well, it's not square, but on his space. But there's pieces here, here, and here. So if he wants to pick up, on one turn he can do this and pick up from all 3 of the surrounding spaces that had tokens. So that's kind of nice. I'm going to put these back. The inspector, she gets to go to whatever space has a monster. The professor, he gets to move any hero or villager 1 space. So like, even if, so like say he's here, he wants to move the scientist 1 space because she's in danger. He can do that. He can move her even though he's right next to, he's not next to her. That comes in handy for like the villagers because like they can't defend themselves from the monsters. So those are the different characters that you can be. So usually you would play with multiple monsters. Essentially what I'm going to do is show you what you have to do to fight each of the monsters. So we're only going to do 1 at a time. But the flame emblem, however, so usually you play with 2 to 4 monsters. On the board we have all 6 of these guys out. And whoever has the lowest number here, so they each have a number in the corner. Whoever has the lowest number that we're playing with, they're going to be the flame monster. So in this case, Dracula's over here. He's number 1. He's got the lowest number, so we're going to start with him. That means he's in heat. He's going to be super. He's going to attack more than the other monsters. I'm going to set these guys up. So now I'm just going to quick set up the board for Dracula, and I'm going to put up the villagers. And Dracula is the easiest monster to beat, so we'll kind of play him out, and then I'll kind of show you with the different mini games how you play them. So these are Dracula's coffins. And there's 4 of them across the board in each of these corners, which correspond to, on his sheet over here, there's each of the 4 coffins. So now what I need to do is I need to collect 6 plus of red. So I need to like be in the same space, put this guy down, and then that would destroy this coffin. And then now it's off the board. So I would need to do that. I need to do that for all 4 of the coffins across the board. And then I can take 6 plus yellow to kill Dracula. Okay, cool. So, you know what? I'm just going to do that. So my first move is 1. I get 3 actions. Where's the token with her? Okay, so I get 3 actions per turn, and I can teleport. So my first action was I was here, I teleported to here, 1, and then I picked up, I'm going to say that's 2, and for my third action, I'm going to go to the cave here, because on my next turn, I'm going to destroy that coffin. So that was my turn. Oh, I never gave myself a hero card over here. But let me see what it is. I could take 2 additional actions. I'm going to save that. So now it's the monster phase. So I'm going to take the black cards and I'm going to flip one up and we're going to see what it says. So right here at the top it says 3. So that's how many tokens I'm going to add to the board. So I'm just going to take out 3 at random. Barn. Institute. Docs. Okay, cool. So now we move on to the second part of the card. It says, place Dr. Cranley at the laboratory. So Dr. Cranley here is one of our villagers. Here's his piece. And we're going to put him at the laboratory. So he goes on the board right here. Now, there's only one monster, so he's not particularly in danger right now. But, you know, say we had another monster on the board, he might be in some danger. If the monster moved and got to his space, they might attack and kill him. And that would be bad for me, because if Dr. Cranley dies, or any of the villagers, or if I die, then this meter goes up. And then if it goes up too much, then we lose the game. But this is just a hypothetical. We're not playing with creature right now, so I'm going to take him back off. So, we've done the first 2 things on the monster card. We have to do the third one. So, there's little symbols that indicate each monster. This one is for the Invisible Man. It's the little hat and the sunglasses. Let me grab the monster face card. So you can see like each one has a different thing. So like creature, Dracula, Frankenstein, bride, Invisible Man, mummy, wolfman. And then this one also has the flame, which means that our frenzy monster is going to move as well. So that refers to over here. There's the flame on Dracula. Since he's the only monster that we're playing with, he's automatically the flame monster. And it says here 1, and it has a dice after. So we're going to roll 1 dice, and then assuming Dracula was on the space with somebody, we would move 1 dice. Or sorry, we'd move 1 space, and then we'd roll. So we'd move 1 space, and then we'll roll 2 dice. So Dracula's going to move 1. He's nowhere near the villager right now, but say he was on the space with Dr. Cranley. We would take 2 of these dice, and we'd roll them. And if we see this, that means Dr. Cranley's dead, and we have to move up the fear dial. This one means no hit, you're safe. And this one, the exclamation mark, means you go to over here on the monster pad, and you're going to look at what it says. It's different for each of the monsters. I don't even remember what all of them are. It looks like place the current player's hero in Dracula's space. So like that would mean I would go here, you know. But Dracula's back here at the Abbey, and Dr. Cranley is fine. So we put 3 tokens on the board. We did what it says here, and then Dracula moved, but he's not on a space with anybody, so he's not going to attack because he's way the hell away from everybody. So that was the monster phase, and I'm going to put that one to the side. So now it's back to the hero phase, and I get to move again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my 6 red to destroy this coffin right here. So I need 6 plus red to destroy it. I have the 6. Here's the destroyed coffin. and I'm going to put it on Dracula's thing here. I'm going to get it off the board, and I'm going to put this tile off to the side. Basically, you're going to create a discard pile for your little tiles that you've used, or if they get taken off the board for any reason. Once this sack gets empty, then you take your discard pile and you put it back in here, and then you start picking again. But you don't put it back in immediately. Once this guy is all the way gone through. All right. So I took one action. I destroyed the coffin. For my second action, I'm going to teleport to the inn, because the inn has a bunch of these tokens here and I want them. So that's going to be my third action. I'm going to pick those up, and now they're mine. So I got one of each color, actually. They're not particularly tall, but the nice thing is so say Dracula is attacking me, and he rolls and he gets a hit. Well, I can give up one of these tokens and put it in the discard pile, and I don't die from that. The villagers have no protection. If they get hit, if they get hit with the dice by one of the monsters, they're dead. It automatically goes up, unless you're on the space with them and you're able to protect them. That's the only time that a villager isn't going to die from getting hit. Okay, cool. So I'm going to put Dracula back where he was. I did my 3 turns, so now it's the monster phase. So we got another monster phase. So there's 3 up here. So I'm going to grab 3 tiles, and I'm going to add them to the board. So camp, ducks, church. Okay. And then the second part, it says place Professor Pearson at the cave. So Professor Pearson is another one of our villagers. These are not all villager cards. We just happened to get 2 back to back. But where is Professor Pearson? Yeah, that's Dr. Reed. Professor Pearson. Okay, Professor Pearson is going to go on the board at the cave. So now we have down here the mummy and the flame monster are each going to move 2, and we'll roll 2 dice. So Dracula is currently our flame monster, so he's going to move 2. 1, and then... Okay, so he's equal distance from everybody, actually. I'm going to say that he'll move this way because there's more people this way. But, you know, it's dealer's choice when it's equal distance. It's dealer's choice when it's equal distance. Alright, so that was the monster phase. So now I get to go again. And I'm going to grab Professor Pearson. So I'm going to teleport to the cave. So now I'm on the same spot with Professor Pearson. And Professor Pearson here needs to go to the museum. So I used 1 move to go and grab him. So I'm going to use my second move to go to the museum. So now Professor Pearson is at the museum. So he can leave the board. And I get a special token, and I get to move a hero up to 4 spaces. That's not bad. That's not bad. That's not the best card that I could have gotten, but it's not a bad one. Okay, cool. So that was 2 moves, and you know what? For my third move, I'm gonna move to the barn here because there's a good amount of red right here, so like I could destroy another coffin using that. So now we'll move on to the monster phase. So we got 2, so I'm going to add 2 to the board. Institute, laboratory. Place Dracula in the space with the current player's hero. So Dracula is going to move into my space with me. Then Mummy, the Bride of Frankenstein, and the Invisible Man would move. But none of those are on the board. None of those characters are on the board right now, so nothing's going to happen with them. We're essentially just going to put this down, and the monster phase is over. So it's my turn again, and I get to have 3 moves. So I'm going to say 1, I'm going to pick these up, which is what I came for. I'm going to say 2, I'm going to go to the dungeon, and I'm going to say my 3rd move is I'm going to take these 2, which is 4 and 2, so that makes 6, and I'm going to destroy Dracula's coffin in the dungeon. So now I take that off the board, and I put it on Dracula's space, and I put those off to the side, and those are discarded for right now. Cool, so now it's monster phase again. So 0, we don't add anything to the board. Place the creature at the waterfront. Well, we're not playing with the creature from the Black Lagoon, so we don't do anything with that. The Wolfman, the Bride of Frankenstein aren't playing, so they don't do anything. But the Flame Monster is Dracula, because that's the only character we're playing with. If there were multiple villains, only one of them would be the Flame Monster. So Dracula's going to move 1. So he's here at the theater. But he's not on the space with me, otherwise he would roll all 3 of these dice. And that might do some damage. So now it's my move again. And I'm going to teleport to the docks, move 1, pick these up, move 2. And then for move 3, I'm going to move way across the board to the crypt. You know what? Maybe I'll go to the graveyard first. I'm going to go to the graveyard first. And on my next turn, I'm going to destroy Dracula's coffin. And we do the monster phase. Exactly the same as the last card. We don't add any tokens to the board. Oh, okay, I guess we would place the creature at a different location, but we're not playing with the creature, so he's not going to move. Wolfman and Bride of Frankenstein aren't playing, so they don't move. But Dracula is the Flame Monster, so he's going to move 1. And then he would roll 3 if he was on the space with anybody, but he's not. He's far away from people. Okay, cool. So now it's my turn again. So I'm going to expend this 5 and this 3 red, and I'm going to destroy Dracula's coffin in the graveyard. So we're going to take that off the board. We're going to put that over there. So now Dracula's only got 1 more coffin. So I have 2 more moves on my turn. But I see that Dracula is getting pretty close to Dr. Cranley over here. I'm a little worried about Dr. Cranley. I think he might kill Dr. Cranley if he gets close enough. So I'm going to say, I'm going to teleport here. That's another move. And I'm just going to pick these guys up, because I can teleport on my next move. I don't actually particularly need these, but in case Dracula were to attack me, I have all of these tokens right here. So like, Dracula can attack me all he wants, and I'm not gonna die, because I got a lot of tokens, so I'm good. So yeah, I guess we'll do the monster phase then. So we're gonna add 3 tokens to the board. Institute, precinct, mansion. Okay, cool. Place Elizabeth at the mansion. Okay. So here's Elizabeth. We're going to put her at the mansion to start with, but she needs to go to the tower. That's where she needs to go to. So she's going to start here on the board. And then she needs to go across the board to here. So then back on our card. So Frankenstein and Bride would move, but they're not playing. So the flame monster is Dracula. So he's going to move 1, and he would attack 2. So he's 1 away from us, so he's not going to attack us because he's not on the space with us yet. And that ends the monster phase. So I guess I'll take Dr. Cranley to the precinct, because it's my turn again. I'm going to take Dr. Cranley to the precinct. And then now that's where he needs to go, so he's going to leave the board. And I'm going to get another card. And this one's actually place Dracula in any space or move any monster 3 spaces. We're actually playing with Dracula, so I can place Dracula in any space. So that was move 1. I'm going to say, do I have an... So, okay, so I need to get more red tokens, which is going to take a minute because I need to destroy Dracula's last coffin. But if you look down here, I also need 6 yellow tokens in order to kill Dracula once we've destroyed his last coffin. So I'm thinking I'm going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. There's some yellow tokens. There's a yellow token on this square here. I only need 6 to kill Dracula, and I have 4 right now. So if I get this, I'll have 7. That's more than enough to kill Dracula. But Elizabeth is also on this space. So I can protect Elizabeth and also get a yellow token. So I already used 1 move to get here. I'm going to use 2, and then I'm going to use 3 pickup. So now I have 7 yellow token, and that's enough to kill Dracula. And then I got a ton of blue tokens. For this particular monster, I don't need blue tokens, but if Dracula were to attack me, I could use them to save myself. Okay, cool. So let's do the monster phase. So we add 2 tokens to the board. The museum and the barn. Okay, cool. This part is about the Wolfman. So we're not playing with the Wolfman, so we could ignore that. Creature from the Black Lagoon, Dracula and the Flame Monster, which Dracula is the Flame Monster, are each going to move 1 and attack 2. So Dracula is going to move 1. He's still not on the space with me, but just because I want some action to happen, I'm going to pretend that Dracula is on the space with me. Oh no, Dracula's on the space with me. He's going to roll 2 dice to attack me. Okay, so he hit me once. So I'm going to give up this blue token here, and I'm going to put that in the discard pile, and I don't die. I could have chosen to die, and then the fear meter would have gone up, or if I didn't have any tokens, but I had a bunch of tokens. I don't mind giving them up in order to not move that guy up. Okay, cool. So now it's my turn again. So I'm going to move Elizabeth to the tower. That's 1. I get 1 of these cards. Move each monster up to 2 spaces. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to pick this guy up, and now I have a 5. I don't quite have enough yet to destroy that one, though. But we're getting later in the game. I'm pretty close to winning this, so I'm going to use this. The current player takes 2 additional actions, and I'm going to go to the barn, and I'm going to pick up this token. So now I have 9 red, which is more than enough to destroy that coffin in the crypt. And I'm just going to throw that over there. Okay, cool. So now we got to do the monster phase. No tokens are added to the board. This one's about the mummy, which we're going to skip because the mummy's not playing. Wolfman and Invisible Man aren't playing, so we're going to skip that. But Dracula is going to move 1, and he would attack 2. Dracula is nowhere near me, but if he was, he would attack 2. So it's my turn again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to teleport to the crypt. That was 1 move. I'm going to use these guys, these 2 red, that total 9, to destroy Dracula's final coffin, and we're going to take that off the board. Discard those. So that was 2 actions, and what I'm going to do is I'm also going to use this card, place Dracula in any space. I'm going to move Dracula to my space. He's on the space with me now. And now Dracula is vulnerable because I've ended his mini game over here. So I destroyed all of his coffins. As long as I have 6+ yellow, I can destroy Dracula. And I do. I collected 7 yellow. So for my last move of this turn, I'm going to play these 3 yellow tokens, put those in the discard, and Dracula is dead. I won the game. Okay, so I'm not going to do like actual gameplay for any of the rest of this. I just kind of chose Dracula and the Explorer because like that would go the quickest. Usually you'd play with 2 or more monsters. I've actually have played with all of these. I've never won with having all of them at one time, but I've gotten pretty close. So I'm just going to go quickly over the mini games for each of the other monsters. So number 2 here is the mummy. You need to... There's a little overlay on the board here for the museum. Can you see that on the... There's a little overlay on the board here for the museum, which is also where the mummy starts. And you need to be in the museum in order to complete the mummy's mini game. So he has this token thing. This is part of a curse. I think he like follows you, or you have to move towards him. I forget which. If you get it, that comes up in the monster cards. So now his game, as you see, there's these green numbers in here, and then there's numbers on the ends. And they're mismatched. They're not in the proper spots. So you need to get yellow tokens in order to move each of these a certain number of spaces. So we'll just grab some yellow tokens from the board. So we'll say I'm going to play these these three yellow tokens, so I get 9 moves on here. So let's see. What's the best way to go about this? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So that would have been 9 moves. And then you just keep playing yellow tokens until you get it back to where it needs to go. I kind of messed it up. Or no, I guess it's okay. So yeah, you want it to be where the numbers along the edge match. And then at that point, you need 9 plus red tokens in order to kill the mummy. So you see these two would be 4 and 5. That equals 9. You can kill the mummy with these. The only kind of weird thing is, so on the monster dice, if you get the exclamation mark, this one means it says fortify the curse. So that, like, one of these would be upside down, and you'd have to spend a yellow token in order to flip it back over and move it. So yeah. And let's go to Frankenstein and the Bride. So these two they move kind of together, but the Bride starts in the dungeon, and then Frankenstein starts down here in the graveyard. So on the monster cards, let me find one that has. Okay. So on the monster cards, Frankenstein and the Bride are two separate symbols. So this one is for Frankenstein. So if we got this card, we would go to the board, and Frankenstein's going to move 1. But the Bride would remain in her spot. This one has both. Let's see if I can find just the Bride. Okay. So then this one, say we grab this one. This one's for the Bride. So the Bride would move 1. But the Frankenstein monster would not move. So what you're trying to avoid too with the two of them is for them to meet. Because if the Bride and the monster meet on the same square, then the scare meter over here goes up. And then the Bride and Frankenstein return to their starting positions, but you're one step closer to dying. The way you defeat Frankenstein and the Bride is you need to get blue tokens for the Bride, and you need to get yellow tokens for the monster. And they have these dials here in their mini pad. So Frankenstein has 11, the Bride has 8. So you need to like grab 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So say you had these and you're on the same space with the Bride. You're going to play these 4. On her mini game, then, that means that this is going to go up all the way to 8, and then you're going to flip it over, and now you can see her face, and she's good now. Back on the board, you get to move her 8 spaces now if you wanted to. Like, usually there's not a practical purpose to move her that many spaces, but you know, you could move her, I don't know, maybe you want to move her by the monster because somebody's going to turn the monster next. So the monster then needs 9, 10, 11. Okay. So you're on the same space as the monster, and you're going to play these yellow tokens that together add up to 11. You see on his mini game over here, he needs to get to 11, and so if you play these tokens, then his dial is going to turn up, and he's going to go to 11, and then he's going to flip over, and now he's good guy now. So then once they're both good guys, now you actually want them to go on the same space so that they can kiss, and then they leave the game. They're done. Okay. So now we'll do creature. So creature from the Black Lagoon starts at the lagoon. He can go on land at any of these spaces, but he can also use the water spaces on the board. That's kind of his special thing. And then he has a little camp overlay here. So you need to go to the camp in order to play his mini game. And his mini game, there's a little ship, and it starts off over here, and you have to get to his lair over here. And the way that you do that is you're playing different colored pieces. So I'm going to play a blue piece. And now the ship moves along here to the next blue piece. So now I'm going to play a yellow piece. And so it moves along to the next yellow piece. And I'm going to play another yellow piece. It's going to move along to the yellow piece. And I'm going to do red. And I'm going to move along to the red. And I'm going to say yellow. And it'll move along to yellow. And I'm going to say red. And move along to red. And then I've got blue. So it'll move to blue. So now I'm at the creature's lair. And he is now vulnerable to be killed. So say he's on the space with me because I can't go in the water. I now need one of each of the three colors. So I can play yellow, blue, red. The number doesn't matter in this instance, you just need one of each. And then the creature is dead and he will leave the board. Okay, so the Wolfman, his one's a little more complicated. He's kind of like the Mummy, where his is a little more complicated. So he starts off here at the mansion, and then his mini game is located here at the laboratory. So you need to get you need to get the potion that cures the Wolfman before you can kill him. I don't know why they think you should cure him before you kill him, but you know, it's cool. So the way that you get it is you need to put in 1, 2, 3 of blue on both of these two places. So 1, 2, 3. No ones. Give me a 1. Okay, 1. There we go. Okay. So once you've put down each of these 6 blue tiles, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, then you get the Wolfman cure. So then you can go to the same space as the Wolfman here, and you need 6 plus red to destroy him, it says. So we've got the cure and we've got 6 plus red, and so that's how you kill the Wolfman. And he leaves the board. The only weird thing with him is this hunted emblem, which will come up in the the black cards. Let me see if I can find it. Yes. If no hero has the hunted emblem, give it to the current player. Move the Wolfman 3 spaces towards the hero with the hunted emblem. So someone will get this throughout the course of the game if you're playing with the Wolfman, and they just kind of keep it, and the Wolfman will move towards them more than they will towards anybody else. And on this initial card, the Wolfman will move 3 spaces towards them, and if that ever comes up again, because there's a few hunted ones. Cool. So then we'll do the last monster. So the Invisible Man starts here at the inn. And then in order to play his mini game, you have to go to the precinct, which has this little overlay here. So here on the board, we see his mini game. So essentially, you need to supply evidence of the Invisible Man's misdeeds. So this one, the color of the piece doesn't matter, nor does the number, but the place where it was found is important. So you need a tile from the inn, the barn, the mansion, the laboratory, and the institute. So let me find some of those. Inn, barn, mansion, laboratory, institute. Okay. So you need to put down each of these 5 that are from a specific spot, and then you can use 9+ red tokens to kill the Invisible Man. So you're on his space, you use these tokens, and then he leaves the board, and he's dead. He has a specific one, so let me find a specific monster phase card. Let's see. Yes, here we go. So his specific card is place the Invisible Man at the location with the most items. Discard all items there. So on the board at the moment, I've kind of picked it clean, but it's just an example. So the Invisible Man will move to the cave here because there's 2 items at the cave. And there's one other item on the board, but this one has 2. So this play location has the most items. He's going to move here, and then these leave the board and go in the discard pile. So that one can be especially annoying when you're playing, because he'll just kind of steal all your stuff. Yeah, I mean, I think that pretty much covers it. Those are the basic rules and a quick run through of Horrified. And I hope you enjoyed it and have a nice day.